For those that do know, I love supporting local brands. And if you didn't know, we're from sunny Singapore, the birthplace of the thumb drive, brands like Razer, Creative, Secretlab, and so much more, with Zerest Audio coming into the fold with the Kagami True Wireless Earbuds. Off the bat, they look pretty good with an interesting earbud design, which I'll get into in a bit. The case is sort of solid, and I say sorta because the top is much harder plastic than the bottom half, but it doesn't feel fragile. This comes in two colors. We've got Midnight Blue and Elegant Copper, which is ours, and they have this leather pouch available with a slot at the back to put in the USB-C cable, so that's cool. The Kagami, or Kagami depending on who you ask, houses one DD plus one BA hybrid drivers and play for up to 8 hours on the buds and up to 40 hours with a case that charges via USB-C. It has Bluetooth 5.3 and it weighs in at 2.4 grams for each shell, so they feel comfy over long periods of time. It's also IPX5 water resistant, and Zerest also boasts that it has 4 CVC 8.0 ANC microphones for clear calls. So let's put that to the test real quick. We are in a relatively busy street here in Singapore, and this is how the Kagami True Wireless Earbuds sound like. And let me know what you guys think of the audio in the comments below. But that is how it sounds like. This is how it actively cancels out the environment around you. And again, this is how they sound like. Sound-wise, they're actually pretty decent, kind of comparable to my Sony WF-1000XM3s from 2019. There's a nice rumble in the bass, and the mids and highs don't get drowned out by the bass in any sense. Listening to Lavender Haze by Taylor Swift, these actually do a good job in the bass department while delivering crisp vocals. Toes Goodbye performed well with these as well in picking out the detail in the plucking of the acoustic guitar and the resonance from these cymbals. Heavier stuff like In the Trenches by Dying Fetus or Deep in the Willow by Knocked Loose could use a little boost in the mids and highs. You can listen to most genres on these, but expect to change up the EQ either in Spotify or your phone, because this pair of earbuds does not come with an app to change up stuff. Overall, they sound good for most genres, but you'll still need to go out of your way to tweak things like the EQ. One thing to note is that the Bluetooth codecs are limited to SBC and AAC and nothing higher, which I honestly don't have a problem with. But if you're more of an uptight audiophile when it comes to your music formats, I would rather you steer clear and look elsewhere for earbuds. If you're even looking for earbuds, I know most of you just use IEMs anyway. For good measure, I also played a round or two of Ready or Not with these on, and they definitely work well for gaming with picking up voices and directions of footsteps. And if they do well for PC gaming, imagine how they'd fare for mobile gaming, especially when you're comfy in a Secretlab chair.
Here at Geek Culture, we've tested plenty of chairs, but Secretlab gaming chairs remain one of our favorites. Whether it's for work or play, they feel great to lean back against, with their ergonomic features offering support for the whole body, from the head and back to the arms, and even something for your butt. This mix of form and function helps the Titan Evo 2022 deliver the best seating experience like no other. For more information, check out secretlab.co.
Now, with all of that out of the way, there are a couple things that Zerest has done well with the Kagami, and there are definitely things that I hope they can look into, especially since a pair goes for 199 Singapore dollars at the time of recording. And yes, I know the screenshot shows that it's on sale, but sales end. So Zerest has been touting the comfort of these earbuds, and by God, I can actually say they are super comfortable. They're like second to the Galaxy Buds 2 Pros. What I was worried about are these little hooks in their design. When we got the images, I thought, man, I hope they don't turn out like Marshall's Minors, which hurt to put on, but I spent money on it already and I lost the receipt. They hook into your ear pretty well, and the seal on the ear tips are good enough to keep out the clickety-clacks of an office at 50% volume for me. Anything lower and you hear mouse clicks. When it comes to commuting, if you're not blasting the earphones at 70% volume and higher, you're definitely going to pick up more voices and the sound of the trains and buses, especially when you're heading underground, which leads me into the fact that it doesn't have any form of ANC on these. These Creative sense more as reminder that it's another Singaporean company. I've been using them as a backup for my headphones that have ANC in it, and for a much lower price compared to the Zerest Kagami. And that goes for a lot of other brands out there who may not have the best ANC, but at the very least, there's something to keep out noise at all right pressure levels. It's not a major gripe, but I can get pushing for the best audio experience like what Zerest is doing with the Kagamis while leaving the ANC bits aside. There are valid arguments on both ends, but I would still opt for something that gives me ANC as an option. That, and I wish they had an app not only to adjust the EQ but to update its firmware, because in the time I've had it, it would randomly start and stop songs with the touch input chime ringing out even though I am nowhere close to them. And this mostly happens when nothing is playing at 30 to 60 second intervals, which is kind of weird. Besides that, connectivity is great thanks to Bluetooth 5.3 in there, and when connecting to a paired device, both devices connect pretty much instantaneously. There were hardly any signal drops, and even if there were, they get back on just as quickly, so no issues there. Last thing I want to point out is the formatting on the box. Let me go get the box. Alright. Oh, box. Look, this is probably a defect, but my inner designer needs me to point out that the lines aren't aligned, and it's so close to the left side of the packaging. I think this is a great start for Zerest because they have a good thing going with how comfortable they are and the fact that they sound pretty damn decent for most genres in general. The microphone bits, I am leaving that to the rest of y'all to decide because I would still prefer the microphone on my phone to call or an actual microphone because I really am that spoiled here. It's just the fact that ANC is almost a key requirement now for most consumers, and I get Zerest isn't aiming for most people, but I hope the next iteration sees some changes I mentioned or something better because it's always exciting when you see companies in your country release cool stuff, and I would want them to find their footing properly at some point. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Kagami True Wireless Earbuds so far. Leave your questions in the comments below, and if you like what we do, maybe follow us on all of our socials right here to keep up to date with everything we do. We post news and content daily. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons. It goes a long way in keeping the lights on here. And have a great week, and I'll catch y'all soon. If you want to see more stuff, check this out.